Hello everybody! A few weeks ago I covered the pros and cons of self-publishing a novel, and today we're flipping the script. I'm covering the pros and cons of going the traditional publishing route, because sometimes having a publisher is awesome, and sometimes it makes you want to die. First things first, I wanted to say a huge thank you to my friends over at Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. I've been partnered with Skillshare for a while now because I adore their platform. It's an online community specifically for creators with over 17,000 classes in design, painting, technology, but I'm personally fond of their classes in creative writing, marketing, social media, and business. I love this platform because not only does it have a wealth of information, but it's super easy to use. All of the classes are broken up into these easily digestible 5 to 10 minute chunks. Plus, it's super cheap. Premium membership gets you unlimited access to thousands of classes, and an annual subscription is less than $10 a month. I do have a little something for you guys, maybe a way to save even more money using Skillshare, but you gotta wait until the end of this video to check it out. Next thing I wanted to mention, full disclosure, I am a self-published author. That means the information I'm presenting today is not based on firsthand experience. Instead, it's based on years of education and research, as well as thorough interviews with a number of traditionally published authors. Additionally, just because I decided to self-publish does not mean it's the right decision for you. There are pros and cons to both options, and you need to make your choice based on your individual skills and needs. Lastly, just like with self-publishing, there are a number of misconceptions about traditional publishing, and I think it's time we sort them out. So let's do that. Misconception number 1. The best part about going traditional is that your publisher will handle your marketing. Guys, I don't know how many times I have to say this. Unless you're famous, whatever amount of marketing you're expecting from a publisher, decrease it by about 90%. Marketing is expensive, so if a publisher is gonna spend that kind of cash, they're gonna do it for an author who's already proven that they're worth the investment. No matter which publishing path you choose, whether it's self or traditional, you'd be wise to brush up on your marketing education because you're probably gonna be doing a bulk of the promotion on your own. Misconception number 2, if you sign with one of the big 5, that's it, you've made it. Signing with one of the big 5 does not guarantee you fame, just like getting into college doesn't guarantee a career. I'm sure you can think of a bunch of famous authors who are signed with major publishers, but there are thousands of other authors out there who are signed with the exact same publishers, and you've never heard of them. It takes a lot of variables to make a book famous, most of which rely heavily on marketing. You know, that thing you're probably gonna be doing on your own. Plenty of books get killed after 2 years. Plenty of series go unfinished. And there are lots of authors out there with decent sales who never become household names. Only a fraction of authors become famous, and no publishing path is a guarantee. And misconception number 3, your publisher has the same goals as you. Whoever tells you this is either lying or really stupid. Your publishing house is a business. Their goal is to boost their bottom line. It's not to make you famous. But Jenna, making me famous will boost their bottom line, right? I mean, sometimes, but other times, letting an author fail is an even bigger boost because they're cutting their losses, they're decreasing their marketing expenses, they're handling opportunity costs, or they're allowing room for another author to blossom. I'm not saying you should fear your publisher, but you need to be realistic about the industry. They're not a charity. They're not here to make your dreams come true. They're here to make money. And believe it or not, their goal to make money won't always align with your goal to succeed. Now that we've covered misconceptions, let's break down the pros and cons, shall we? Pro number 1, limited financial responsibility. It doesn't matter how awesome your story is. Your book does not stand a chance without a professional cover, professional formatting, and a half-decent editor. Fortunately for you, your publisher is gonna pay for all of that, along with the copyright, the proofread, and a bunch of other shit you would have had to pay for on your own if you had decided to self-publish. Putting out a quality novel is expensive, but traditionally published authors only have to fork out a fraction of the cost that self-published authors do. It's important to mention that, as I already covered, publishers don't offer a ton of marketing, so it's common for traditionally published writers to pay for their own promotion. But if you're super strapped for cash, traditional publishing might be a worthwhile option. You'll still have to pay for marketing, but a lot of the other release-related expenses will be handled. Con number 1, limited creative control. Your publisher has the right to dictate your title, your story, your cover, whatever. They get the final say on anything creative. Sometimes changes are made because the original idea sucks, so they're making it not suck. Other times they're just making it more marketable so they can boost their bottom line. That's That's a positive thing in some ways, unless it kind of ruins your overall vision for the novel. I was trying to write about a man's struggle with loss, not a young adult vampire love triangle. It's also become increasingly common for publishers to sign authors specifically so they can write a story the publishers themselves have created. It's similar to ghostwriting, except the author's name will appear on the cover. The public will see it as their work, and it is their work, except for the concept. For some writers, this is a great option. For others, it's their worst nightmare. Pro number 2, a guaranteed paycheck. If you sign your novel with a major publishing house, you will most likely receive an advance, which is a paycheck toward the start of the process that typically covers the first 2 years of your novel's life. That means you are essentially given a guaranteed lump of money. No matter how your novel performs, you have the right to that cash. This is something self-published authors don't get because they publish themselves. So unless they want to pay themselves in advance, it's not happening. With that said, it's important to clarify that a lot of smaller independent publishing houses do not pay their authors in advance. So this particular pro does not apply to all traditionally published authors. Con number 2, your guaranteed paycheck probably sucks. Writing isn't exactly known as the most lucrative career, and boy do those advances live up to the reputation. In my self-publishing pro and con video, I cited that the average advance for a traditionally published debut novel is typically between $10,000 to $20,000. However, my recent research indicates that it might actually be between $5,000 to $15,000. So for the sake of keeping things easy, let's just say it's between $5,000 to $20,000. For some people, this is sufficient, but a lot of writers want to make their art form a career. You can't support yourself off 20 grand over a 2-year period, let alone 5 grand. Not to mention the fact that a lot of traditionally published authors never start earning royalties, and if they do, their rates are typically a lot lower than the average self-published author. Pro number 3, you're not alone. Publishing a book is hard as fuck, and if you're self-published, the entire burden rests on your shoulders. But if you're traditionally published, you've got someone else handling the complicated business shit. Someone else is dealing with the copyright, the production, the pricing. Not you. And if you have questions along the way, you can ask your agent or someone within your publishing house. There are different people you can turn to provide insight during the process, and that is a huge comfort, especially during a book release. Con number 3, you're not alone. Sure, it's comforting having someone else oversee all the business stuff, until you remember that your publisher's goals don't always align with yours. Did you know that your publisher has a right to pull your book from production after the first 2 years of distribution? You might think this won't happen to you, but it happens to a lot of writers. But Jenna, that's because they don't sell, right? Depends on who you ask, because publishers and authors can have very different definitions of selling and not selling. Additionally, we've already talked about the fact that a lot of authors are signed for the sake of writing a concept the publisher created. Did you know that in these cases, the publisher often retains the rights to the novel since it was their idea? The author may have written the words and their name may be on the cover, but it's not their story. Let's talk book releases. There are a bunch of different ways a publisher can go about your book release depending on how they predict it to perform. If the publisher doesn't believe in the longevity of your book, they may skimp on the editing, rush the publication, and release it during a dead month for a quick buck. Or maybe, since you're not their top priority writer, they'll delay your release again and again and again. The last example I'll get into is probably the most complicated to explain, so bear with me. Say publisher X has a famous author signed to them, their big moneymaker, and she's known for her werewolf fiction. Suddenly, a newcomer is out and about, and he writes werewolf fiction too. This could be a huge issue for publisher X because this werewolf guy is legit. His book could totally rival their special author, which means rivaling their profits. Because of this, publisher X decides to sign the newcomer so no other publisher will get him. Then they don't promote his work so that their moneymaker can continue to hold the spotlight. To put it simply, a publisher might sign an author with every intention of neglecting them simply to eliminate perceived competition. You might be thinking this sounds paranoid, but this is a really common practice in a lot of businesses. I'm talking industries all over the place do this shit. This is basic business 101. Bottom line is, you and your publisher are not always going to have the same goals, and this can be tricky for a lot of authors since you're awarding them significant power. So that's all I got for you today. Choosing a publishing path is a really important decision, so you should probably have all the facts first. There are a ton of benefits to both traditional and self-publishing, but there are also some major downsides, so you need to be honest with yourself and choose the path that best suits your needs. Again, Again, thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring my video. I really appreciate how supportive they've been of my platform and of the Savior's Champion. And of course, Skillshare is back at it again with the goodies. Right now, they are offering 2 months of Skillshare Premium for free to the first 500 people who click the activation link below. Click the link, capitalize on the deal. You'll get 2 months worth of thousands of classes about creative writing, marketing, business, and a bunch of other stuff, all for free. It's awesome. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, just ring that bell. Ring that bell. It's over here. My mistake. My dark fantasy novel, The Savior's Champion, is available for purchase in ebook and hardback. Pick up a copy today. The links are listed below. You should totally read it. It's pretty fucking badass. And be sure to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, and of course, you can tweet me at Jenna Moreci. Bye!